This is Oscar Bevis for IFL TV. Delighted to be joined by my man Dean. Good to see you. I've been a while, my friend. How's things?
I'm here, man, working in the shadows and just, just trying to rebuild stuff,
Say working in the shadows, coming to light this Saturday. Your show, Maidstone. Is it Maidstone or Tolworth? Tolworth, sorry. So show this Saturday.
Got a lot of headache with that show, but yes, we're working. We've got the IBO Youth World title for Alfie Clegg on this Saturday, December the 2nd. And we've been working diligently with that, but in this boxing, the small hall stuff, we have a lot of stress and stuff that goes on behind the scenes, man. We've got to give credit to any promoter that wants to get into this field, man. A lot of headache, but you got to love the game, man. You know what I mean? You got to love the game, man. It comes with its trials and tribulations, but, we're pure boxing people, so what can we do?
I feel like every time we do an interview, you always mention the difficulties that go on in the background. I feel like some people might think it's just put money forward, fighter A, fighter B, they get together, visas, licenses, medicals.
I wish it was that easy, and somewhat will say it is that easy, but it's not always doable because, either there's licensing issues with certain boxers, their licenses are up to date. Then obviously the board got to check their licenses, and sometimes there's dates on when they check them, and there's a process. So sometimes they get pulled off for that. Sometimes guys get injured, they pull out of fights, then you've got to replace them. There's so many factors, and I know every boxer does want to fight, but sometimes they don't really check their medical factors or their licenses short, or But it's a very expensive sport to be in now, man. All the fees have gone up. So it's kind of difficult. It's just like when they pay for their license, it just goes by so quick, you know what I mean? And then they've got to be paying for it, and they go, bloody hell, that due again, you know what I mean? So, it's stressing. And then you got to find opponents. I think yesterday we had this weekend we lost about 3 people. That's the B-side fighters have got knocked out over the last week, this weekend and last week. And it's insane. We've matched them from ages. Imagine they come to the last hurdle and get themselves smoked. So that's put us in a predicament. So, we're up against it. And we've been there before many times. And we've come out on top. I think we've had to reschedule the other day, but hopefully we're not in that position again. But we've got a few hours left in the it's squeezy bum time, as Alex Ferguson used to say. So we've got to try and continue to, push the pen and see if we can get all the jobs, everything ticked off. But we've still got a few boxes left.
Fingers crossed it ends with Alfie getting what he wants and winning on Saturday night. Just talking about something that's literally broke not that long ago. Robert Smith went on TalkSport to say that the British Boxing Board won't licence or give way or grant Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. to take place on February the 3rd, which is what we're hearing the date will be. How do you kind of view that fight in general now? Because I know there's obviously going to be a little bit of tainted feeling around it, I guess. I know obviously Conor, in quote, the bad guys kind of had to go for a bit of a time. I guess he wants to fight. For Chris, it seems really the only option in the UK. How do you kind of feel about the fight in general?
As a fan, it's a good fight you'd want to see. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of needle in there. Obviously, because of what's gone on around it, we understand it is a bit of a sore subject for some, because obviously, the situation with Conor. But he managed to fight the other day in America. So, I'm not sure how this progresses. I don't know if he boxes on a different license or if they do it abroad, or like we've heard they come here and box on a whole different sanction body. I don't know. But as a fan, I'd want to see it. You know what I mean? I'd want to see it, man. I'd want to see if Conor Benn can go up and really do what he says. You know what I mean? He's been looking electrifying, knocking 7 bells out of people. I'd like to see how he does against him. But in his last fight against that guy in America, that guy was tough as fucking shit. He was punching 7 bells out of that kid, and he didn't manage to stop him. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting fight. I'd like to see it as a fan. When it comes down to the board and other stuff, I guess they've got a duty of care, and you got to cross the dots, man. You got to get everything done with them, because they would not be putting none of this. They're not playing no games on guys. So I'm not sure how it all turns out, but if it gets done, I probably would watch it.
Not that there's kind of no other avenue for either guy, but do you feel like with everything that's gone on, even the sore stuff around it, like we mentioned, and obviously the Ben Eubank history, do you feel like it kind of has to happen now? whatever happens, whether it's here, abroad, on whatever license, these two have to just get in the ring and just do it now.
I think, UK fans, as much as, there's all this negativity around it, they'll still tune in and buy and go on to see it. Because, they're big household names and everyone loves a grudge match, innit? So I think they're still got legs on that. And doing it abroad, I don't think it's going to have the same appeal. I don't know how they make the money because obviously Americans, I don't think they're too, hardcore fans might know who they are, but I don't know if they're going to tune in and come out unless you put on a big American star and then surround it via that and then get a big show in America somewhere. But I mean, for both boys, I think there's other fights. Obviously, in terms of, I've seen them talking about Jaron Ennis. I'm not too sure. I think Boots is a special talent. I'd personally not put Conor Benn with him. But, obviously he's got to believe in himself and believe he can win that fight. But I think Gerard Ennis Boots is something special. I think, Conor Benn's a good talent, but I think that guy is just something else, you know what I mean? I think there's other fights. Is it Virgil Ortiz is there? I think that's a good fight for Conor. There's a few guys across the pond, and he's in that position now where he's just surpassed all this British level stuff anyway. And with what's going on, considering he can step onto the world stage and start looking at taking away some of those guys that's in and around there. I've noticed Lamont Peterson was still knocking. He was a dangerous guy actually back in the day. I think obviously beat Amir Khan. He was pretty good. But I think he was fighting recently. I was surprised to see that he fought the other day. He could go and make himself a name and go and fight someone like him. Knock him out. Obviously, they might say he's a bit old, but it's still a good name to break into the American market and slowly build your career, becoming a household name in America. You've got to find someone to take off the board and start to move the table so that people understand and your name be announced. It might not be earth-shattering saying, oh, fighting him, but it's just a name. There's another guy who fought the other day. Right now, he's Limpet. Is it Limpet? The one that
Lipinets.
Yes. I think that's another good guy. He's dangerous. He comes forward non-stop. I think he could probably come up in a little bit of weight and maybe fight him at welterweight. He fought Bud Crawford, I'm sure. So I think that's another good. You've got to fight certain guys to get into that American market to become a household name. I don't, he's with DAZN and Matchroom, and to be honest, those guys support and put a lot of effort in the guys they believe in and want to back. Do you know what I mean? So I think they'll put everything in that brand, that Conor Benn name and so on. So I think there's ways for him to do it. I don't think he's just only got that Eubank fight. It is a good fight, but I don't think it's the be-all and end-all. And I think Eubank is the same. There's fights he can go and do, and they can go and make, maybe Sky, but I don't think they don't really do a lot of stuff in America like that. Maybe they work with Top Rank and do it, but I mean, if you're looking for money, those guys, to be honest, are looking for big money. So if you're looking for big money, that's a fight that's made, they can make their big money with. Because to be honest, if they go American and fight different guys, the guys we've mentioned, they don't kind of make those kind of figures. So, it's business. So it's got to make sense, got to make money, got to make sense to those guys.
Yeah, well, I suppose we'll see where it goes from here. In terms of what we've seen recently with the Saudi show on December 23rd and then finally the signing of Fury Usyk, I want to know where Dillian fits in all this. When was the last time you spoke to him? Because I feel like there's a place for Dillian Whyte in all of this.
Dillian's okay, man. He's over there ticking away. I don't really, we can't go too much of his business, but he's okay. He's ticking away. He's doing what he needs to do, and I'm sure when the time comes, I'm sure you guys will hear some stuff from him. But he's okay. Yeah, he's just doing him in it at the minute, and hopefully, when the time's right, I'm sure you guys will hear from him. But yeah, he's okay, man. But it's true. I see all that Saudi stuff. It's I'm sure we'll hopefully get into the party at some stage,
Because I can imagine it must have been quite a difficult period for him. Everything after what happened in what was meant to be the Joshua fight in the summer, and now having seen all the other heavyweights, guys he's fought before, rivals, etc. on the big stage all together, I can imagine he's kind of sitting there, one with itchy knuckles and two thinking, "Fuck, this is where I should be."
I'm sure as a fighter you'd get itchy knuckles and you'd wanna, I'm just speaking as third person and just speaking in my perspective. But like I said, there's not too much I can touch on. But I'm sure he'll be back soon, and he's probably, as a fighting man, he's probably rearing and wanting to get into that kind of part of the action.
Joshua Wallin and Wilder Parker. Talk to you about them two fights.
dangerous fight. That Wallin fight is not an easy fight. You know, Wallin is awkward, southpaw, can box, can move, dirty, rough. It's just, it's not a good fight, man.
Is it a mistake, do you think?
I think it's a hard fight for Joshua. I mean, now he's gone to Ben Davison. I don't know what that is. Is that just while he's here, or is that a permanent move? I don't actually understand the move personally. But I mean, look, it's down to him and his team on what they kind of. I do like Joshua. You know, I wish him all the best, and I hope he can perform and deliver. But one thing we know, if he hits the target, there is a little bit of danger. But Otto Wallin is old school. He's been around the block. And I mean, he's had some hard fights. I don't even think he's lost a few, but he hasn't been stopped or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I think that's a really, really southpaw. We saw like he struggled against Usyk, but to be honest, in the second fight he done really good. So I don't know. Styles make fights, you know. I say that, but then he could go out there and fucking catch him and blow him out. But like I said, Fury didn't blow him out. He had all sorts of nightmares in there. So I expect a tough fight. But if I had to put my house on it, I wouldn't put my fucking house on it. But I mean, I'd go with my man Joshua, man. But I think it's gonna be a rough, rugged fight. And if he ain't ready for a rough, rugged fight, boy, I don't know what he's because that guy Wallin uses bare dirty tricks. You never see him. He was poking Fury in the cut. He's a dirty bit of work.
Well, I know they're kind of leading towards the potential of Anthony fighting Deontay Wilder. I don't know if that fight, it would be such a boxing gods working in their way for Joshua to end up not coming through Wallin and us not getting that fight. Do you think Wilder knocks out Joseph Parker?
When he catches him, he's going to sleep. But then you got to understand that if he catches him, but I think obviously listen, if you're boxing, you know, they're going to know that they're going to have to try and negate that right hand, and they're going to have to try and box moving and circling away from that. But can you do that for the whole 12 round fight? It's nearly impossible to do that, as everyone knows. You got to get it right for that whole 36 minutes. Wilder only has to get it right once. So all he's going to be doing is going to be terminate a man on a mission, and he's going to know that Parker's not going to sit there and have a shootout with him. He's going to be circling away from the right hand, and that's what they got to do. He's got to feint that way and then circle back and then try and either close the gap, hold tight, spin him, and whatever, lean on him, let the ref break it, and make it kind of horrible. He does not want to sit at that mid-range or at the end of that detonator, bomb squad, right hand, man.
In terms of
Joseph Parker, big him up as well.
He is a top man, Joseph. What was your thoughts on kind of, I'll say the return, I know he's fought Lucas Brown, etc., but seeing Jarrell back at the top table, mouthing off?
Shit, the pharmacist.
He was always going to do that, wasn't he? He was never going to go quietly.
Mad, that guy. Now, to be honest, big him up actually as well. I shouldn't even cuss him. He's actually cool, actually. I spoke to him when I was in Miami. I was on the phone. He was actually in Russia. I met one of his mates in one of those gyms in Miami. And then I spoke to him again on the phone somewhere else. So, do you know what? Look, boxing is a hard sport, man. Look, the guy's, you know, he's human. He's made mistakes. He's come back. And now he's on the big table ready to fight and do some stuff and prove some people wrong. Who's he fighting? Daniel Dubois. God damn. Shit, him on the gear, man. I would have said he would have smoked Dubois. But I don't know, sorry. I shouldn't even be like that. Apologies. But I mean, it's an interesting fight. Daniel Dubois boxed pretty good against Usyk, I feel, until he got himself smoked. But I remember Jarrell Miller used to do them rounds with ease, and his output selection was very, very good. He's a big old unit, and it's an interesting fight, you know. I think there's actually some really good fights that could go either way, to be honest. I don't see Daniel Dubois stopping him, but I do see it being a 50-50 fight and a tricky one. I feel that Jarrell Miller's got a little bit more experience in certain aspects, but they're saying that Dubois had Usyk, he's fought Joe Joyce, and he's fought a couple half-decent kids lately. He went American, stole the belt off that Brian McKnight or whatever. Brian McKnight's a singer, but hey, that guy might as well have been a fucking singer or a dancer or whatever he was anyway. What is he, Brian something? Got him. Yeah, no, not Brian Jennings. When it Brian, who's the guy? Not Brian Jennings. Who's the American? Trevor Bryan. That's it. We're all fucking fanning around thinking what the name is, but yeah, it's a nightmare. But look, credit to him as well. I think that's a good fight as well. I think there's a few good fights. All the heavyweight fights on there are pretty good. And I can't believe, where the hell did they get Demore from? They dragged him up from the dead. I thought he was dead, that guy. How the fuck?
Well, I hadn't seen him since David Hay, and when was that? 2017, maybe.
How the fuck? Where did they get that guy from? Demore. Remember David Hay? He found him. He was at 36-0. I'm not, or 29-0, whatever the fuck. I was thinking, shit. How did they even license him to get another fight, to get a payday? That is insane. I bet he went back to Sheffield after he lost to David Hay. Now he's got a big payday in Saudi. There's no way that guy's been fighting. I've not heard of him since that. That is insane. Credit to boxing, man. You lot can definitely bring up the dead, boy. I'll tell you something. Fuck me. I don't know how they've done that, I swear. It's just that is. Salute them man there, though. That Russian kid, he should be fighting someone better than that, though. Because he's a little knockout kid, isn't he?
Well, it is a good card on December 23rd, and good array of heavyweights, like you said. And I guess they're all eventually going to have their eyes on the belts, which is between Usyk and Fury, which we finally got signed, and we're going to see next year in February.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a tournament. The Saudis, man, they got the money, man. They got the money to make all the bullshit go away, all the, the politics of sports. How much you want, motherfucker? You understand?
You know there's a lot of money involved when there's 12 promoters involved in one card.
That's what I'm saying. Say, how much bloody want, fucker? You get me? Let's get to business. All this bullshit. I'm not interested. Tell me number. And that's it. To get to that, all them guys to fight on that card, that's super bread. And they've cut. Look, there's many promoters been trying to do this for years and ain't managed to do it. Till the big butter comes, these man, people are signing. They might have been waiting for this golden handshake. But that fight with Joshua and Wilder, that is a dream fight, and that's a dangerous fight again for Joshua. I think, again, I'll definitely be rooting for him. He's, one of our own boys here. But you just don't want to be on the end of that right hand, man, that detonator, what that guy's landing. I watched him and Malik Scott a couple of times doing their thing. And, man, that right hand, man, is bad for business if it hits you on the mush.
100%. Just one final thing. In the wake of, obviously, what we saw with Fury and Ngannou, how do you view the fight, the Fury and Usyk fight now going into it after what we saw last month?
Great fight.
Does it change anything for you, the Ngannou fight?
Great fight with them two boys. Not really. I think I'm just trying to go back in my mind's vision and try and visualize that fight. It was a little while ago. For me, I think Fury may not have taken him serious. It's obviously knocked a bit of shine off our boxing and MMA. Everyone in MMA obviously now thinks all the boxers are
our argument's gone down.
It's gone down a little bit. But what I would say is there's a few factors I'd point out. I think the factor is Ngannou is a beast of a man, for one. Yeah. When I mean a beast, he's very strong, he's very athletic, he's very fit as well. Because he was fighting the whole fight, the whole 12, 10 rounds, whatever it was, I can't remember. But the usual things that Fury can do, like when he leans on people, uses his weight and pushes them down, that never worked for him. That guy was all lifting him up and doing squats and all that with him. You know what I mean? All that, we're tying up. Because he comes from MMA, Fury couldn't tie up. None of that stuff was working. That stuff, what he usually does as the bigger man, did not work for Ngannou, because Ngannou was equally as big and even more stronger than him. I think Ngannou's IQ as boxing was pretty good. And what I would say is he's got a huge neck and he's got a very good chin, because a lot of the punishment, to be honest, he ate some fucking beauty, some peaches in there. Some guys couldn't stand up to that barrage of punches. So I think, I think it was when Fury realised he weren't making any chinks in him and he was coming forward, he just thought, oh, fuck this, let me try and box on the back foot and keep it stepping, because this guy's a fucking monster. He's not going to knock him out. And he got knocked down already, because he could see the power, what this guy had, and he was just, fit to do the round. So, I mean, it was very, very close. I'm not going to lie. At the end, I did want Ngannou to win. I did think it was close in the ending. And it was one of them. I think it'd be interesting to see that fight again later down the line, if Fury can get his mind right and box again and just try to see where they are.
Did that fight take the shine off the Usyk fight, though, do you think?
I understand why a lot of people might think that, because they're probably thinking, fuck, all this time we thought he was the special one, and look, some kid who's never had a fight's come in and punched 7 bells out of him. How does this guy represent us? And it obviously gives a lot of these MMA guys a brain to say, well, we can come in there and bash people up also. So it's kind of, but MMA guys, on a rule of thumb, are very, very fit and very strong and durable normally. So, when they do come against boxers, they're a lot more explosive. They got a little bit more, you know what I mean? Because they're doing them 5-round fights, especially the elite boys. But look, I think it's a good fight. It's a different fight. You're fighting a southpaw, is a lot smaller. He's not going to be as strong, I don't think, as Fury, or we'd like to hope anyway. You know what I mean? But I think Fury does okay in that fight. I think he'll be the bigger, the stronger man. All that movement's going to give him a bit of thing. He'll probably just use his flick jab and just needs to keep his eye on the prize, man. All the mind games, what he usually gets up to, didn't work with Ngannou as well. I don't know. He's getting in. I don't know if he's getting into Usyk's mind or not. But Usyk seems to be taking everything calm and in his stride. But he's seen it before. The guy's had over 300 fights, so I don't think he's not seen anything. But I think come next year, it's going to be interesting. I'll definitely be rooting for Tyson Fury.